All right, what's good, y'all? So back here with another video, a little different setup, but I definitely wanted you guys to be introduced to my man, Mr. Posh here. So obviously you guys know I'm in Utah, Park City specifically. And so I wanted to talk to you guys a lot about social networking, and not just social networking, but like in person. Like, how do you build a world-class network? A lot of y'all have been asking me a lot about how do you build a world-class network? How do you talk to people? How do you introduce yourself to people? How do you build a community around you that people can actually help you with whatever business you have, or just even just making friends in general, right? And this is literally the dude that does this at a high level, has millionaire friends, everyone loves him. So definitely wanted to sit down with him here today and just talk more about that. So Rev, man, tell a little bit about yourself.
Man, where do I start? I'm a country boy from North Carolina, near Fayetteville, Vietnam, J. Cole, you feel me? Grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, went in the military for 10 years, was in the war, was in special missions. I've done it all, modeled in New York for a few years. So with all that experience, I've been able to come to a place like Park City, Utah, which is a ski resort. Very, very incredible community, and build relationships and create a business to be able to be successful in what I do.
Nice. So when you first got here, right, like how did you accustom yourself to everything? Like being in a new place, having a new demographic of people, like, cause a lot of people that are watching this right now, like they want to make friends around, or they just want to build a network. They want to be around these high level people. Like, how did you infiltrate into this type of community?
Well, first, I think that it's not anything that you can really like try to teach yourself, right? I think it's really understanding life experience. You know, when I first came here, I knew there was an opportunity to, really showcase who I am in a community that there is none of me, right? And I mean, I don't snowboard, I don't ski. I'm outdoorsy. I've come here and learned how to be healthy, eat healthy, work out, hike, trying to get into mountain biking, but I love motorcycles. So, really coming here and making a space for me, keeping my name clean, understanding how to really, support, who I am and attract those other individuals was very important to me. So that's kind of where I started and how I started off in Park City.
So when you got into like these social circles, first of all, how did you get into like a social circle like Park City? Because it's very elite, right?
Right.
You can't just be just anybody walking in here and building a network.
Well, I came here because of a little show that I had, a YouTube show that I had back in the day, way back in the day. I've been here for about 14 years now, and I just met the right people. Yeah. The right good people that connect me to other good people. And I remember watching one individual when I first got here and how that individual moved, and I was like, dang, how does this person like do this? Like, I would want to be this one day, not even having any clue that I would be who I am today. And this gentleman was just able to kind of really introduce me to these individuals. And like I said, I've always been careful about my image and who I am, just because of where I come from. I come from a very rough part of North Carolina. I grew up on a dirt road, so I really didn't know much, but the military really helped me scope out who I was, right? So coming here, it was all about who I met and getting with that one individual that can plug me, and I kept their image clean to create my image. That's what really, really helped me.
So there's a big thing that people always talk about where they're saying, and I always say this to my audience, is like provide value wherever you can, right? So how did you go about providing value to these people? Like, what did you notice when you got there? Like, let's say you're going into a restaurant, or you're going to like a bar or something like that. Like, how do you introduce yourself to these people? And like, how do you go from not having a network to like having people actually like, because now they just hit you up. People want to know who you are. People want to be connected to you through other people. How does the average person get to that level?
Well, I mean, first I had to understand my traits. I had to understand my character skills. I knew that, I made people feel very special, right? I knew that, People will feel like the most important person in the room when I speak to them. Ask them about their kids. I remember different conversations that we have, and that's really rapport building. And when you can build rapport with the person and really help them connect to you emotionally, that's the secret clue. If you think about it, you always hear music when you walk in the stores and you're getting ready to buy something. When you watch a commercial, you hear music. When you think about your ex, right? You hear music and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember my ex. Or you think about things when you was a kid, when you hear different sounds. So emotion is really a real thing. And understanding how to channel that emotion through human connection is the secret.
So somebody's an introvert, because we live in a time where a lot of people are big introverts, right? They don't have that like eccentric personality, like they don't necessarily know how to present themselves. Like, how do you get over being an introvert and trying to, connect with somebody? It could be a random person, because the biggest thing is like, you never know who you're going to talk to.
Absolutely.
So how do you go about that?
Well, I think it's practice.
Okay.
Right? The best of the best practice. If you don't practice, you're not going to be good at anything, right? Sometimes I even had to practice, going out and how I was going to meet people. I had to dress a certain way. When I came here, I dressed very different. I modeled in New York for a couple years, and that's what really opened my mind to fashion, right? And I think, moving to a mountain town, it's just ski bumps. People just it's adventure individuals, and it's people who really love outdoors.
Right.
So a city boy moving into a place that, well, let me rewind. A country boy transform into a city boy because of the military, traveled around the world, opened my mind to move to a ski resort town. It was just really cool. People always talked about the way I dressed. I was always in bow ties, top hats, dressed to the nines, and I didn't try. It just was me. So stick to who you know. Like, don't try to be like somebody who you think people want to be.
That's a good one.
Or people want you to be. Be yourself.
Interesting. So, because a lot of people, they feel like they don't have anything to offer.
Right.
Like and to be honest, I think everybody has something to offer. They just don't know what it is.
Right.
So how did you find that? And part of what you were saying was interesting, where you talk about how you dress. That was like an edge that you had on a lot of other people, especially in this town where you don't see that type of attire in this town. So obviously it made you stand out. But like, how do you find the edge that you have that other people are attracted to get you in those circles?
That's a great question. Well, I want to start here. There's a lot of stealth wealth where I live, right? People are very, very, very wealthy here, and they don't show it. Very minimal. You might see a Louis Vuitton wallet. You might see another brand that you don't even know what it is yet, right? So it's just really, me, I just stuck to my code, right? I didn't try to go above my means to try to fit in and break myself. I remember the first time I made a little bit of money and I bought my first Louis Vuitton belt. And for me, I didn't feel like I completed anything. For me, I just wanted to do it to say, wow, I just bought a $1,000 belt. That's really dope, but it doesn't make me feel complete.
Right.
And sometimes I feel weird wearing it in certain environments. Because why? Because I'm an African American, and the society looks at my culture as that, very flashy. And they put you in a box. So I didn't want to be in that box. So with me, I just made sure that I stayed to the brands that I knew as far as my urban side. I didn't try to elevate like the Louis Vuitton belt that I bought. I didn't try to go all crazy and get Gucci and all this.
Yeah.
I just stayed who I was, and I became involved and entrenched into the community. And when people see that you're really about a community, they want to assist you in what you're doing. And from them, I've learned how to really I don't want to say develop, but enhance my personality, enhance my personal brand, enhance, what I talk about, enhance the people that are around me, like you, and making sure that I don't bring people into my circle that's going to taint what I've created and what I've learned from all these individuals around me that are more successful than myself.
Got it. Nice. So as you've developed yourself and as you've built this network, because a lot of people here, they want to know how to start a business, right? And you have like a lifestyle business that's very powerful because it's basically just like leveraging your network to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, how does somebody even start that?
Ah, man.
Like that's on the whole topic of like building your world-class network. Like you can monetize that. You've been able to do that
Yeah.
at a high level.
Yeah, so I mean, what I found is that, because I've traveled the world and I've had all these connections around the world, and I've noticed that people started to ask me, like, hey, do you know somebody that do this? Or hey, do you know this person in this state? Or hey, do you know? I started to really understand, like, man, like I can make money from this. I'm tired of giving people stuff for free. So I started my company just off a whim, not even thinking that I would be where I am today. I literally started my business with $5,000 in my bank account, walked out of my job. So I had a passion to be successful. I had a passion to not go back to the dirt roads and live on the dirt roads. I had a passion to show people where I come from that you can be something. So you gotta have something that's innate inside you that wants to drive you to do better. You don't have to know, you just have to want. You don't have to know, you have to want. Because if you want to be great and you want to do good, it'll happen.
Right.
Yes, you're still gonna have the trials and tribulations. You're still gonna have those days where you feel super defeated, but it's about having that side of faith, right? That you have, whatever that might be, right? And staying extremely consistent, and having that determination to not give up.
Wow. So what happens when you have those days where you don't feel like doing anything, or you just don't feel like getting up and doing the same? Because people don't understand business is very repetitive. Like you have to do the same things over and over and over and over again. And sometimes, but the thing is, even with the last video I mentioned, it's all about momentum, right? So you have to get that momentum, but some people, they get the momentum and then they just drop off. How do you get past that point?
Well, you gotta stay in your sorrow sometimes. When you're having bad days, accept it.
Yeah.
Don't think that you're not supposed to, because that's where you fail. You got to go through every emotion, and I say that a lot in a lot of interviews that I do. That's something that Nipsey Hussle, stay close to. You got to go through every single emotion. So if you don't understand emotion, that's number one.
Yeah.
That's going to hinder you if you don't understand how to succumb to your emotions. You got to cry sometimes. You got to be vulnerable sometimes. You got to tell your friends, I love you. You got to tell yourself, I love you. You got to look yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself. This is what you have to do. This is not a maybe or I can or sometimes, because, to come to a place where there's not a lot of me and create what I created, that's unbelievable. To be able to do that. And I knew that when I got into this community. I knew that I was gonna be something different. I didn't want to come out here and start trying to date a lot of girls and doing all that crazy stuff. And I got that out of my system in the military. Yeah, I got that out of my system in the military. So I came here with a different focus,
So how do you leverage like a network, like something that you have, even if you don't have the network that you have, right? Like, how do you start to build it up? Like, how do you go from knowing one person to now knowing a whole city, and then the whole city knowing you? Like, how can somebody do that in their situation, regardless of where they're at?
Let's conquer the world together. That's why I created Training Grounds. Training Grounds is the ultimate self-development and fitness community where you'll learn training, nutrition, build social skills, and network. You need to have a community of men around you that are elevating you on a day-to-day basis, that's going through a lot of the trials and tribulations, so that way you don't feel alone. That's why I created Training Grounds. You'll learn how to build an incredible business for yourself, for me. So tap in, link is in the description. Become a conqueror, be around other conquerors, and let's conquer the world together. I'm gonna catch you in Training Grounds.
Power players. It's like poker.
Okay.
It's like poker. You got to know the people that know people. You can't know the person. You can't know the middlemen. Knowing the middle, I was the middleman at one point. You always got to start somewhere, but you got to have a goal to get higher than that. And when I first came here, I wasn't the middleman. I was the guy wanting to be the guy that was introducing me to everyone.
Wow.
But the person that was introducing me to everyone that person was in a different phase of life. And sometimes people are stuck in phases of life. And if you come in with a passion and a drive to do better and to be great, you will excel those people that you don't even think that you would excel. And that's the magic part about it. It's like, you truly have to have a drive to want to be great at any aspect, right? So for me, I just took pieces from everybody that I was meeting, not knowing that these people were feeling like I was treating them like the most important people in the world. I just love people. I don't care how you look. I don't care what you have, because I come from nothing. So I came here with my back against the wall, you know, and then I had a son when I came here too. My son was 3 when I moved here, and I moved here because of him. So I uprooted my life to come to a place where I was afraid to come. My son's family is well off. I had all the fears of, what if I can't provide for him? What if he's gonna just love his family and not want to be with me? And now I have the most incredible, you know, relationship with my son, who is now 16 and is playing a very high level of soccer. He calls me for everything, you know, to tell me his excitement. He comes and stay with me, and I get to show his friends and him the experiences that I give to my clients. So you really can't be insecure about who you are as a person. You have to embrace your insecurity, because that's what people love. This world these days is so disconnected that they just want people to be extremely authentic.
Wow. So, because I know a lot of people are probably listening, they're like, okay, well, I get what you're saying, but I'm somebody who, I don't know who the first person I am, like the first person I need to meet is. Like, I don't know where I need to go to find that person. Like, what would you say would be a good first place to start meeting people that are important? Like, how do you go about that process if you're starting from literally nothing?
Well, first you got to understand what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, then you're going to spin your wheels. You got to understand what skill do you have? And if you don't have a skill, you need to learn one. And you need to learn it with a goal to master. I've mastered networking. I've mastered teaching people how to use the resources around them. Most people don't even understand what they have around them. They just have a bunch of everything and don't even have an idea of what they have. And it's like, hey, how do I do this? Well, who do you know? Well, my friend owns this, and my other friend knows this, and my other friend has a ranch. It's just literally understanding how to connect the dots. Life is a puzzle, and the people around you are puzzles. So if you are a person that works at Walmart and you just do retail, then you got to find that on the next level. Because if you master retail, then you can leave Walmart and you can go work for Ralph Lauren. The same way. And you can just continue to meet people that come inside Ralph Lauren that's buying those type of clothing and that's spending that type of money. You make the relationships with them, and the next thing you know, you're sitting at their dinner table. And then you're meeting their friends, and you're keeping your image clean because you're representing them. You know, you cannot burn your bridges. That is the most important thing, you know?
Another thing I took out of this was hang out at high level places where like important people go. Like, you don't want to go places where, and again, this is no knock against the quote unquote average person, but you want to be around where the power players are. You want to be able to find a way to get into these clubs, like that, these social clubs that these people interact with, because that's how they're going to be like, well, what is this guy doing here? And once you figure that out, and then you start building that network, that's how you start. It's a snowball effect. You get the momentum. And then once you get the momentum, you just keep building and building. And you always just ask the person that you met, hey, do you know a person that does this? Or like, you start to realize who their network really is. But like, how do you go through that multiplying effect? Like,
first you got to know when to ask.
That's a good one.
You got to know when to ask. You can't come in as an opportunist. You know, people that are extremely successful, they like me because I treat them like humans. I don't want anything from them. I don't need anything from them. Money doesn't drive me. And when money drives you, people that have money can see it, and they don't want you around. When money drives you, you treat people with money differently than you would treat the average individual. I treat everybody on the same level. I don't take disrespect because I have disrespect. I have respect for myself. So therefore, I don't allow anybody to disrespect me. I don't care if you're a billionaire or a millionaire. I don't care who you are, because at the end of the day, we're human. Like, everybody dies alone. So You really got to understand your traumas, and you got to work through those traumas so that they don't come out in your most intricate moments that you can utilize to bring you the most valuable opportunities.
That was amazing. That was a gem that everybody got to pick up. So I mean, we're gonna end this here too. So what are some final thoughts that you have for like the people watching, like these, and some of them are young, but a lot of them are a lot older. They're older in their careers, and they kind of want to just be around high-level people. They want to have the network that you have and be able to monetize that and have a life around who they know. Like, what would you tell them?
Well, first of all, everybody can't go. Everybody can't go because this level, man, you gotta go through a lot of pain. And in order to go through that pain, you gotta learn through the pain. And when I say learn, you have to learn to where you don't repeat the same patterns that you're going through in life, right? Whether it be, different friends that are energy vampires, whether it be different friends that are opportunists, whether it be different friends that you have that innate intuition where you're like, I probably shouldn't be hanging around this person because you have to be a different individual. But in order to do that, you truly have to know who you are. So what I would say is, please just focus on yourself. Like, work through your traumas is the most important thing that you can do for yourself as a human, because at the end of the day, you can't be elite until you work on yourself. Everything comes from within and it spreads out. So if you look around and you ask yourself, who is my top 3 to 5 friends and what are they doing? And they're doing the same thing you're doing, you're losing. You got to have a person that's a notch above you, because that person is going to give you the energy to want to pull you up there. Now, that person isn't going to be like, hey, let me give you a hand, because it's not going to help you. Once you get to that next notch, you're not going to understand how to react to that next level. But if you're learning from that person that is giving you this hard feedback and you're taking it in, and you can understand self-criticism, real self-criticism, not someone that's projecting their insecurities on you, but someone that's telling you some things that you can feel in your heart and you're like, yeah, that's right. I know I need to do this. Focus on that. Focus on the things that people are telling you. Because if multiple people are telling you those things, then obviously you need to work on it. So learn yourself. Learn yourself. That is all. I always say that. Get to know yourself.
That's perfect. Man, thank you so much for coming on here, man. Again, y'all, this is Mr. Posh. I have his Instagram below. Tap into his Instagram. Heavy networker out here, just big player out here in Utah in general. Does a lot of things out here. So check out his Instagram, see what he has to offer, and tap in with him. But I appreciate y'all. This was a very different video than what I usually do. But I just wanted to introduce somebody that means like the most to me right now. So I appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna catch you on the next video.
Peace out.
There are 2 types of men in this world. There are the drifters and the conquerors. Literally the only 2. Now, you can choose which one you want to be. I don't want you to be a drifter. I want you to be a conqueror. Drifter is somebody who does not have a vision for themselves, do not have any goals. They stay the same. They're complacent. They're coping around everything. I don't like being around those people, and you don't either. Now, the reality is, to become a conqueror, you need to have goals. You need to have a vision. You may not have the finances, but you do have $97 a month to be able to work with other men, to be able to have that motivation, because that's what's going to drive you the most. It's more of a group setting motivation. And that's why I created this, because I cannot help every single person one-on-one. So tap in with me. Link is in the description. Become a conqueror, be around other conquerors, and let's conquer the world together. I'm gonna catch you in training grounds.